Welcome to episode 63 of Broad Street Hustle. Don't change that dial. It is a Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when you're listening. You know what that means. It means we must have a major tournament for golf. So we always put these out early, and we do. We have the Open, nature's test of character, as they like to say, played this year at Royal Liverpool. It's the 151st Open tournament. Let's get through. Let's get started. I got my normal guys. Jason Sayada, how are you?
Hey, Tom, what's going on?
Doing well. We got Chalky there.
Yep, let's go.
And we have, I think it's neck and neck right now. Kevin might hold the record for most views on YouTube from his episodes between him and Jimmy D. And now we're bringing you back-to-back weeks of Jimmy D followed by Kevin. And later we'll have Jimmy D back for the horse show, the Saratoga show later this week. But we do have Kevin Krieger. Kevin, how are you?
Hello, gents.
And I'll get into where you just came back from, but I'll be remiss if I didn't apologize to your wife first, because I know she had a little bit of a problem with, me saying how awful it would be to play golf with your wife, which I guess I was mistaken. So I do apologize.
Shots fired.
I mean, I could think of two things right off the top of my head that would, probably be worse. Going on the Titanic would be one of them. Taking a submarine down to see the Titanic would be probably worse than.
It's not untrue. Nicole, she did though. She was thinking some shots would be fired, so she wanted to both give a challenge, but also this little prop to say that she's ready.
Is that a Delco sign?
It is. It's a bitch. Please, I'm from Delco, and she actually said that she would challenge you. I mean, she got a new driver. She said she'd challenge you to a drive off. And if
I'm
you
in.
lost, you have to rock this for a year. Anytime you try, so.
And name the place, the course. I'm in. We can go to Cobb's Creek. Do you guys see that they're doing like $100 million renovation on Cobb's Creek? It's gonna play the PGA or something.
I did hear that.
Or
You
the
just
bank.
have to make sure you make it there.
Yeah. I don't know if they know where the area is, but yeah. But I do have Kevin. And before we jump in, I wanted to ask you about your last couple of days. I guess last week you went down to is it North Carolina?
North Carolina, yeah, the Sandhills of North Carolina.
And you went to Pinehurst, right?
Well, drove by Pinehurst.
Okay. But you got to play. You got to play some nice courses.
Yeah, quick little weekend trip. Drove down and back. Second time on this trip, but yeah, it's the Sandhills of North Carolina. There's got to be 100 courses around there. Everything in that area speaks golf. Actually, the U.S. Open next year is at Pinehurst #2, so they've already got construction up, signage. I mean, that looks like a big boy course. It's something, I got to see firsthand a little bit over this weekend. But yeah, Tobacco Road was a highlight, even though got rained out, 4.5 inches in an hour, got 9 in. And then, Tallamore, Longleaf, Mid Pines. The list goes on. And those are all off Pinehurst. So it was good weekend. Actually brought home a little swag figure, which I might have to take this off because this thing's made of wool. But yeah, a little green jacket. Yeah, I know it's the open pod, but it's a major. So
yeah, no, I was going to comment on it. It's very nice, but yeah, feel free to take it off. So all right, let's jump into it. The Open, like I said, nature's test of character. They say links golf is nature in all its unforgiving force. Is some of the things that I read.
Okay, Jim Nance.
Yeah, so I was probably written by Jim Nance. So what do you guys think about link style golf and the Open course? We'll get more into some of the additions that they made from last time they played here, which was 14, that Rory won. They've, we'll get into. I said there's 4 par 3s now and 3 par 5s, which is a little bit of a different. They added a brand new hole, but it is a link style course. Jason, what do you think about link style? Any thoughts around that?
Yeah, a couple of things I read on this course was it was originally par 72. Now it's 71.
Yeah, so one of the 5s they dropped down to a 4.
Made it 4,
and they have a 611 yard par 5, correct?
Yeah,
or par 4.
Yeah,
should play downwind, but par 5. But
yeah. Oh, par 5.
Right.
Yeah.
500 plus par 4.
Yeah, the course is about 7,400 yards. Some of the correlated courses I read were Royal Troon, Carnoustie, Royal Portrush, Royal St. George's, and then they said a little bit TPC Sawgrass and PGA National, just to get a feel for the course. Some of the characteristics I'm going to look for is iron play. Obviously should be very important on this course, and then I'm going to look for strokes gained around the green. You have to watch out for those bunkers. You don't want to be in any of those bunkers because you're probably going to have to hit backwards to get out of them. So just those are some of the characteristics I'm going to look for when handicapping. And I'm going to be getting up early and putting the TV on and watching golf.
Yeah,
How early?
I get up at 5, so
Nice.
I know it starts at 4, so I'll miss the first hour, but
Actually, yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, I'll have it right on.
And I think it actually starts at 1:30 a.m.
On Peacock.
Yes.
It does. On Peacock, you could start watching it at 1:30. On the regular television, USA, I think it's 4.
Yeah, that's the one thing with the Open is they always got that 6-hour time difference. So you're like scaring to try to watch it early, or figuring out if am I watching it live? Am I watching it early
I think
record
this
it?
will still go till like 4 in the afternoon though.
Yeah,
on
which
our
is
time,
fine.
Which is
I mean,
cool.
I love watching. That's actually on a Sunday morning watching that final round at 10, 11 o'clock.
First thing you wake up,
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned Carnoustie was I think one of my favorite courses. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, there's a 17 is the hole that they added. Is that the one that's like 136 yards? Does that sound right? And they're saying depending, I guess the wind plays a huge factor in that hole. So if the wind could be nasty, they said they were getting mixed reviews already about that
which is
hole.
good. But when the players hate a hole, I love it even more.
Right. What I'm thinking is it's probably hard. So
what they did, they reversed it. They did a ton of change because it used to be a par 5 that played away from the water, right? So the tee box was on the water, they played inland. They switched it, so now they're teeing off from where the green was, playing towards the water. So not only it's more dramatic going at the water, but the wind.
That's where the gusts come in. Yeah,
comes in exactly, and it looks like a spoon like turned upside down. Where turtleback green called a spoon. And the fact that the 17th hole, you could see 2s or 9s there.
Yeah, they said if you go left, you're in a lot of trouble because the up and down to get that is going to be
if you don't hit it like right in the middle of the green, it's going to roll off. Basically.
Yeah, so I was going to read this. This was an article I read this morning on Global Golf Post, but it's got just a couple paragraphs on the 17. It plays 134 with a bank like the front of the 15th at Augusta, leading down to a waste area. There's more sand on the left and on the right, and over the back, the land drops as much as 15 feet into thick grass and reeds. So if you overshoot it, you're obviously in trouble. Standing on the tee, I found it hard to draw a bead on the target because so little of the putting surface was visible from the tee box. In any wind, the green could be devilish to hit and hold. The hole has been built, frankly, for television and to generate excitement for spectators. It breaks a run of flat holes, but should a hole like this be in the rotation? That's another discussion. And then one last thing, as it is, a golfer who holds a 3 or 4 stroke lead over his nearest rivals with 2 holes to play will not breathe calmly because that lead could disappear in moments, to what Jason was saying. You could shoot a 2 or you could shoot a 9. So it's not a layup by any chance. And then the 18th after that has been lengthened, as you mentioned, to 600 yards.
So you're finishing with a 136 and a 611 hole. Right, you said the 18th.
Yeah,
so
18th is 600.
The tale of two cities there.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. A little bit. I know Jason, you said this earlier, but like TPC Sawgrass. The 17th is the island green, and again, until you get past that hole, if you don't get it on the surface, you're teeing up, and you can put up a crooked number.
Yep.
I love it.
Now, is the water in play in this hole, or
the bunkers are essentially a hazard, as bad as the water, if not worse. If you fly it long,
but not.
But these it's those bunkers, or like you said, a 15-foot chalky, 15-foot drop off.
Yep.
Trying to get up and down from that line, it should be good drama.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a hole for TV, like Chalky said. So that should be pretty exciting. So, like I said, Roy won at 14, but just similar to, was it the Open that the course made like kind of a major haul from the last time it got played? Was it the Open? I guess it was, right? Since the LA Country Club.
Well, yeah, but that never played there. I mean, it's. I think all these courses they're just trying
Something,
to
yeah. One of them we talked about, right? It was such a major change
LACC, yeah, from just from
whenever
when it
they
was.
played, yeah. So it's kind of hard to use past form when it comes to one thing that I found interesting. So I looked up the past 8 winners, and you're thinking link style golf, British Open. I gotta find Euros. So there's been 4 U.S. and 4 non-U.S. that have won in the last 8 years. Um, you got an Irish chalky, you got an Australian, you got a Dago for me and Jason. Um,
Molinari.
you got a Swede. I mean, and then you got a bunch of Americans in there. Well, Rory too. So I don't know. Was it 9? Maybe I did 9.
Well, Rory's Northern Ireland, right?
Oh
So
no, I'm
that's
sorry. It was 5-3. I can't
and
add.
then Lowry, yeah.
Yeah, 5-3. But still, not like a huge disparity. I mean, it seems like it plays. There's Americans that can play link style courses, and then there's Europeans that can play the link style
Texans.
courses.
I heard one stat where there's been 6 instances where the PGA winner has won the Open in the same year, and 3 of those were at this course. So in
Tiger
other
and Rory
words,
were 2 of them.
yeah, I
Since
forget who the other one
2000,
was.
yeah, I saw something similar.
And who was the
Yeah.
PGA this year? I always already forget.
Kepka.
Koepka,
He was the Kepka year, yeah.
Brooksy.
Yep.
It's a lot
Uh,
of interest.
Yeah. So then one more thing before. So we do have our draft that we did last time, but one more thing is, what's a little annoying with this tournament is like it's a little bit of luck of the draw. So in that first and second round, if you're teeing off when the winds are at its high, you're in a lot of
Yeah.
trouble. If you're teeing off and they're not, you can eat the courses up. So that becomes a little bit luck. So obviously looking at tee times is important. But I did see that right now rounds 1 and 2 look like they might be not too bad. The gusts didn't seem to appear to be too bad. The rains might or should hold off. It's the weekend that is looking a little dicey, specifically the final round. I don't know if you guys saw anything different or had a different take there.
Yeah, I mean, I it just looks like rain in the forecast throughout, but it's I mean, that's any Open. The weather's the defense. They can't trick it up like the U.S. Open because of the possibility of the wind. I mean, the last time, because the last few years have been pretty mundane conditions. I mean, the Open at St. Andrews last year, perfect conditions. I think Cam Smith won at 22, 23 under. Year before that, Morikawa was 19, 20. I mean, you have to go back to like 2015 when they stopped it with Koepka. So I mean, I think what you'll see, especially with the draw, I mean, they tee off every other major. They tee off first and 10th hole. The Open, because they have first light at 4:30, sunset at 10:30. It's the only major, one of the only tournaments really in the year where everybody tees off the first hole from 4:30 a.m. till 3 p.m.
Right. Yeah, I like that too because I do
I like
think
it too.
there's subtle advantages between
Yeah.
starting at 1 and starting at 10. So
Definitely.
And what's crazy, I mean, you said about links golf, which in America, we get a little bit of it, not true links. I mean, I said before, I played out in Bandon Dunes, sandy soil drains, probably the closest thing. I played to links golf. Even in North Carolina, the sand hills, not as bad, but I mean, sandy soil drains. But these, links courses, especially, I mean, Liverpool, which really, Hoy Lake, Liverpool, you'll hear both. Hoy Lake is technically
yeah.
it's the name of the course in the town. Liverpool's the name of the club, but it's one and the same. I mean, but that it is a beach town with basically sod on top of it. So it's like a sponge. And I mean, you could have 3-4 inches of rain and it'll drain, in a matter of 4 or 5 hours. So I think the first 2 rounds, you're going to see people go low. You might see another 62 like we saw at the U.S. Open on Thursday, Friday. But I think the wind will pick up. A little less rain over the weekend, and kind of same thing. You'll see some teeth at Hoy Lake. So I think that there's a good chance playing out, but
Yeah.
it's low scores early.
All right. So I think last time we did our draft first before we got into the meat and the potatoes. So this way we don't give away some of the thought process. So let's do it. We did an off camera draft order. So it did
Who
go.
won? Who won the U.S. Open though? Did we ever announce
Oh,
that?
so Chalky wound up pulling it
Chalky won.
out. He was a steady Eddie. Nobody did well. Nobody did poor. I think Fleetwood might have
Everybody
won.
made the cut.
Fleetwood had a ridiculous final round, right? That like really helped.
He always
Kevin,
back to the top.
There's a
10.
couple. My last three picks were significantly better than like everybody else in those rounds, and that's what put me over because I had Scheffler, but you had Rory, and those were the best.
Yeah.
You had a better top pick than I did, but
Yeah, I will give Kevin credit. So he had both Fowler and was it Xander to be the first round leader, and they split. I mean, they tied. So
if I were to throw some creds or did throw some creds, yeah, he might have won some things, but yeah.
but overall, I mean, I don't have them all in front of us, but we didn't have the winner, but we had pretty much the top 10
top 10.
now.
Yeah, I think Kevin would have won if he didn't have two guys. that missed the cut.
And you
That's
you
what
had
killed
two
him.
guys
The
miss the
second,
cut, right?
the second guy that missed the cut killed Kevin's score.
Because then the final round, somebody shot like a 7,000 or something.
Yeah, there was like
so that was
yeah,
your score.
that pulled it down a lot. I think I ended up with two top 5 though, between
That's solid.
Scheffler and Smith, but
Yes, Cam had a really good final round as well. So it was chalky. So we'll do it again. If you don't remember, it was 6 picks. Your top 5 is who you play, so you can cut one of the guys. So basically, you need 5 of the 6 have to make the cut because if you have 2 guys miss the cut, unless everybody else
probably
does,
not winning.
You're probably not winning.
Yeah.
But again, we're picking 24 guys. Should be the top 24 players, if give or take. So, you should be making the cut on these. But so let's go. So like I said, we did a little bit of a draft off camera. It was Jason, myself, Kevin, and Chalky. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll write Jason's first pick in for him. That's Scotty Scheffler.
That will be Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty.
And I'm going. So I'm going back and forth between Rahm and Koepka for my pick. I had Rahm last time. I'm gonna ride with him again. I'll go with the big man, Rahm.
Wow, Rombo. I mean, I'm music to my ears because I think Rory might be chalk, Hollywood ending, but I think he's destined to finally break the curse. I'll take Rory, my first pick.
Ooh.
Break his losing streak.
I was hoping he would slip.
I want to be on the right side of history when he does win.
He would have been my top pick there.
The St.
Okay,
Louis Cardinals. It's a little inside joke of Chalky's baseball draft. Okay.
I don't like Koepka here. Cam Smith and Hovland.
Yeah, so Hovland is a guy that I had rated pretty high myself, so we can get into. Yeah, so his odds I felt like are pretty good. His weakest part is his wedge, and I don't know how much the wedge is used in this type of course. You can kind of get around that with the style of course it is. So I do like.
Yeah, I have 2 guys I'm really strong on, and he's one of them.
Yeah,
I like Hovland a lot.
KK.
I'm up. That's right. Let's go. Let's go, Brooksy. Koepka.
Yeah, it's the pick. You have to go.
6.
You know what? I'm sorry, Jason. I'm gonna steal Cantley from you.
All right, that's fine.
Take away.
Now, I'm going to go. All right. Boy. I don't know if he's going to be here when I come back. All right. I'm going to take Hatton.
0.
And then I don't think this guy's still going to be around. I think he's going to have a really good open. I'm going to take Fleetwood. I was going to try to make him slip, but I don't know if you guys are taking him.
Honest, it was between Cantlay and Fleetwood when I picked.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
he was gone. If he was there, so I felt like I stole Jason's pick with Cantlay. So I'm going to steal Kevin's pick with Ricky Fowler.
Ride the Ricky train. I don't mind that. You can.
All right, you're up, KK.
Do that. So now, I'll go with a little past champ. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with back-to-back live guys. I think DJ. He's in one of my picks as good form, and
That's my boy. I love DJ.
I think excellent driver. Long as I go DJ.
All right, we
Third.
got double chalky here.
Yeah, I thought Kevin would take Fowler in front of me, so that was a little bit of a surprise, but he did go, obviously. All right, so Lowry.
Mr. Laura.
boy.
And
Chalky's boy.
That's my boy.
And Jason's boy, yeah. I was gonna
Well,
say.
Chalky used them in the
He did
parlay.
use
I'm kind of mad at Spieth for not making the cut last time out, so I don't know if I want to go with him. Let's go Justin Rose.
Oh, I actually was like
That's a little sleeper.
And full disclosure, this is a podcast that holds grudges. So sometimes we don't make picks because we just flat out don't like guys or they lost us money. So just full disclosure there. KK, that's you.
Wow, how's this guy still on the board?
Oh, I know who it is.
I mean, he falls in the camp of Cantlay, but
Yeah.
Xander.
Xander.
I think he's good links record, won the Scottish last year. Take him with my fourth pick.
Yeah. I'll make a little bit of maybe he'll make a little bit of research. I'll go with Young, Cam Young.
Finished second last year. He's kind of disappeared,
Yeah,
but
he did.
All right, I'm gonna go with Tony Finau.
So I almost went with.
Yeah, I was hoping he slipped, and I'm gonna take Morikawa. Like his iron
won
play.
2 years ago, which wild his odds are that long.
Yep.
All right, so I'll bite the bullet. I'll go with Spieth. I feel like maybe he gets a little resurgence.
Don't dislike it.
2 more picks, boys.
Let's stick with major winners. How about Wyndham Clark?
Oh,
Give me.
that sounds like a miss the cut type of guy right there.
I don't know. He's been decent since the U.S. Open was not long ago. This course into this summer. We'll see. Fifth
All
pick.
right, so this is gonna. I wasn't expecting Homa to be there.
Yeah.
It's in the cut. Well, all right. Let's go with I guess how I thought it would shake out. Fitzpatrick.
Come on. I mean, they had to take Fitzpatrick. Your country was looking at you.
And Adam Scott.
Oh, Adam Scott.
Yeah, it's got a potential for a miss.
I do miss the British Open announcer. Remember the announcer? Everybody.
Yeah, that guy with
Adam
that goofy
Scott.
voice. Yeah.
It's you, Kevin. Last pick.
Last pick, Adam Scott. I was hoping was there, but I'll go with another. Recent form, solid. One of my longer shots in the plays later. But how about Robbie Mack?
Yeah, he's been good.
McIntyre.
All right. Let's see.
A Brit.
I'm gonna go with take a little bit of a flyer. I'll go with Sam Burns.
Texas player. Yep, they're used to win.
And I'm going to end with a guy who you're going to hear his name again when we do our make the cut. Min Woo Lee. Will be
You ever see him hit a 2-iron?
I did.
I mean, nobody's gonna touch Tiger, but I like that. He's got a stinger.
Yeah, he's prominent on some of mine. All right, so before we get into the final stretch of our picks and start talking top 10, we did a off-air parlay for the U.S. Open, which was guys to make the cut. So what happened is each of the people on the pod here, we did a pod parlay. We all picked one guy to make the cut. We threw it together into a four-man parlay. We hit it. It paid a little bit better than 4-1. So Chalky had Patrick Reed. I had Thagala. Chalky had Lowry. I had Thagala. Jason had Patrick Reed, and Kevin had Ricky Fowler, I believe. So we hit it. It got dicey there at the end. We had a couple guys that needed some good
Gala,
scores.
Reed, Pete Reed.
Yep, had took a couple.
There's a lot of curse words coming out of some of our
I
mouths.
just say,
Luckily, Reed didn't fall apart until the weekend
let's just
officially
say
started.
Reed's
But
weight was in question for a lot of those texts,
Yes,
and
there was a
Lowry's
couple of weight comments.
Lowry
that were
being a
coming.
non-American maybe didn't play too
all
well.
I can say is that because neither of those guys were in the featured group on television, I was watching on Peacock because they show specific holes in other groups. They showed the same goddamn people they had on TV because, each group had one of the big names and they were always on 5 or 6 or 14 or 15. So I got to see like 2 holes of those guys for the whole thing, even though they only focused on specific holes for some, because you could see them in 3 different places because, Shoffley's in this group and he's on 5 and he's in this group and he's on TV. And it's like, okay, show me the bums that we picked. But
Yeah, I was watching them. I was watching it on the app, but in the live where they actually move the ball. So I was watching.
Yeah,
it move to
that's
the
what I had to
green,
switch to
and then I was
on the screen.
It was pretty rough
Refresh.
there. So, but it did pull it out. I paid a little bit better than 4-1. So it was actually a really fun bet. So we're gonna do it now. This time we're gonna do it live on the air, which I'm sure we'll lose now because we're public. We're making it public on the air. But I'll go to Jason and Kevin. You're going to plug this into as a DraftKings we're
Get
using.
live odds.
Yep.
FanDuel.
Okay, Kevin's using FanDuel. We're a DraftKings pod, but we'll go with FanDuel.
They don't let you do this part on DraftKings.
Yeah, so it depends on I guess who you can use. So Jason, who is your
nobody sponsors, so there's space if somebody wants to jump in and so we don't have to be affiliated with anybody yet.
Barstool, anybody willing to
That's true. We've used DraftKings for a year now, and we haven't gotten any,
any love, any
sponsor
swag,
from them or
any
anything.
reads.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. So.
All right, so yeah.
Jason?
Well, I gave it away already. I'm gonna try Minwoo Lee.
All right, Min Woo Lee.
Min Woo Lee to make the cut. All right.
You got just scroll towards
He's
the
at minus
bottom.
270, but okay.
Oh wow, that's a lot worse.
He dropped.
For a DraftKings.
He was minus 200 on 365.
All right, and then Chalky, who do you have?
I'm gonna go Adam Scott.
Okay.
Adam Scott is at minus 215.
Okay,
Much better
I'm
than
going to
DraftKings.
go with Taylor Gooch.
The Gooch Man minus 235.
Kevin, bring us home and tell us what that
I'm
pays.
gonna go the longest odds.
How about that one?
Well, my 6th pick with Robbie Mack.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the longest
Yeah,
odds.
But he's minus 176, the longest of our 4 picks.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that one a
No,
lot.
that's fine.
So that's going to pay about the same plus 348.
Really? Is there less golfers playing or more golfers that'll make the cut? Because it's odd that.
Well, I
No,
think we probably had better odds
You think?
last time.
Yeah, we had a couple guys closer to the Gala, I think was like minus 110.
Because Taylor Gooch is like 70-1 to win the whole tournament. Lee 70-1. I'm surprised.
I think the Open is top 70, and
Yeah, I bet you there's more guys that make it. It seems like the odds don't necessarily.
so I mean plus 348, similar.
It's not bad.
No. Yeah. I mean, look, they're only making the cut here. They're not. They can finish 70.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the
Well,
official pod parlay is Taylor Gooch, Min Woo Lee, Adam Scott, and Robbie McIntyre. So, we'll be rooting at home. It'll give us something. Hopefully, you guys at home can play it as well. All right, let's get into it.
Lock it in.
Let's get into it. So I think last time we just kind of went through our list of guys who we think are going to win the tournament. If you have any crazy long shots you wanted to throw in, if you have a long shot that you don't think is going to win, but you would like them for the top 10, throw it in. Some of the first round leaders, you could throw that in as well. Jason, I'll turn it over to you. You can go through your list. You can go through a couple. We can come back to whatever, kind of however you feel. If you guys want to jump in, feel free.
Yeah, I'll give you the main guys that I like to win, and then you come back to me later. I'll give you like top 20s and top 40s and stuff like that. And all the guys that I'm going to give you to win, I'm also going to play the lead after the first round because I'll be pissed off if the guy I picked to win leads after the first round and doesn't win, and I lose 40-1 or whatever it is. So I really think that Scheffler is winning. I've thought since the Masters that Scheffler is going to win a major this year. And I've been thinking it all along, and I still think he's going to get a major this year. And this is the last major left. So I know it's chalk, but I really like Scheffler, and I really do like Hovland. I think it's Hovland's time to jump up and get a major. He's basically been around, sniffing around in every major so far this year. He's not been far from the top. So they're my two main guys. I'm also going to play basically almost every guy that I picked in the draft. I'm going to take Hatton. Going to take Fleetwood. I know Fleetwood is a choke, and he's probably not going to win, but he has really been playing well lately. And I don't know. Maybe he jumps up and surprises everybody and wins. Cantley, another guy that never wins, but I think he actually has a pretty strong shot in this one. I'm going to use him. And then Morikawa and Cam Smith. Cam Smith's probably not going to win since he won last year, but I just love the way that guy putts. I mean, he's just phenomenal to watch putting. So he's always dangerous. Wanted to throw him in because he's a guy that I almost always bet, so I don't want to miss the boat on him. So those are my main win guys, and I'll come back later with some top 20s and stuff.
All right, how about you, Chalky? Where's your head?
Of the main guys, I'll go back for again third tournament in a row to Rory, 8-1, depending on where you look. He won last week, and he won last time they played here, so I'll give that a little bit of credit. Cam Smith, 20-1. It's hard to repeat, but like Jason said, I think his game is very good right now, and this is probably one of the tournament, aside from maybe the Masters, that he's shooting for. Hovland at 22-1, and Lowry at 35. So a lot of guys I picked in the draft, but there's a reason for that. So those would be my four main winners. Couple of, if you want longer shots, there's two guys at 100-1 that I hear some people talking about in Henley and Bradley. They're 100-1 each. I can't vouch for them, but at 100-1, might be a little fun to throw something on those guys.
All right, Kevin.
Once. Yeah, all. I mean, yeah. To Jace, your point about Scotty, it's if you look at the stats alone, I mean, he's statistically having one of the greatest seasons of all time, modern era, other than Tiger in was that 02 or forget the year from whether it's top 10. I mean, he's finished in the top 12 in every single tournament that he's played, which I mean. I think it's 16 now. Tiger has the record, or the two at 18 in a row and 15 in a row. Strokes gain. I mean, Tiger's only beat him. But the only thing that he's missing is a major. So, the stats point to him winning. I don't think he gets it done, so he's not one of my picks. But I can, you look at the numbers. Yeah, it's hard not to see that. I think he runs the FedEx Cups. I mean, he goes 5-0 the Ryder Cup. But I think it's in his head.
I also heard something on him, and I don't know how true it is. I'm assuming they're not lying, but he's going through some kind of personal issue right now for the last, couple of months. Nothing, nothing like, what's the name? Like, nothing that's, he's going to be in trouble for, but just, personal
Well,
issue.
he canceled his press conference right on Tuesday, which I think was odd. They said, but he's something about
this
him
is
being
ongoing,
locked,
though. It's
him being locked
not
in.
something
Roy did that a couple weeks ago, but I mean,
I don't think it's something that just came up. It's something that he's been dealing with. So I guess it's some kind of family thing. So maybe that's been playing in his head with the putting, because the putting is
mental.
Kev, like you said, his iron play has just been Tiger-like. And the reason he doesn't win is he's not putting well.
I'll get into it because he's one of the guys that, like Chalky said. I mean, there are times it looks like he needs glasses when he putts. Like he doesn't read a green. He plays it the wrong way, which is just weird. Well the only thing I will say is he's not a bad lag putter. So although he doesn't hit although he doesn't hit those
Yep.
putts, he doesn't three putt. He two putts. And
Yep.
these types
But
of
that'll get
tournaments,
you your top
and
T12s,
that's what
top
gets
five.
you to top five. Although this tournament lag putting is a huge part of these giant greens, these huge undulations. Where if he can be successful in lag putting, it might still be enough because it's hard to knock down putts at courses like this at times. Just because
Unless you're Cam Smith last
yeah,
year, but yeah.
but you could be on the green, but you're 75 feet away, so it's like
Yeah.
the chance of
Mm-hmm.
you making that are slim. So, but there's a chance you could three putt as well. So the lag putt is huge. But go ahead,
But
Kevin.
yeah, so yeah, you're right. So I'm not taking Scheffler, but of the kind of the top tier, the top three, um, my number one pick, Rory. I'm with you, Chalky. I just think it is
I'm seeing a little.
time.
I don't know. I'm seeing a Scheffler Rory head to head pod here. Jason and Tommy aligned with
I
Chalky.
mean, hey, you
Chalky
could
and
have it.
Kevin.
I just think from all the crap that he's gone through, the whole PJ live, put the PJ on his back. I mean, it's kind of been like he's been in the background between Scotty and Rom, especially the first half of the year, but he has come on the back half of this season. I mean, just coming off a Scottish Open win, ready to come back from behind against Robbie Mack. He's been, I mean, last year he had the lead going into the final round at the Open or he was in the final group until Cam Smith came roaring back. He's had close calls before. I mean, I just think from a feel standpoint, and I think weather-wise, when also, of course, of horses, I mean, he's the last major winner at Hoy Lake in 2014. And yeah, they changed the course, lengthened it with some pars, but it's still by and large, I mean, 15 of the holes are pretty much the same. They're in different orders. And I think it being wet, I mean, looking at some coverage, people are saying it is greener. It looks like
Yeah,
Augusta more.
they said people were complaining about the brownness, but then some of the early pictures coming out have been pretty green.
Soft. So
Yeah.
that's going to make the course longer, which I think, when you get the sense, I think driving is, but being able to use a driver is going to be paramount for this. And Roy's the best driver in the game.
Yeah, and he's a guy too. If the winds are playing in his favor with a little bit to his back, where a par four could be putting for eagle.
Yeah, I mean, his weakness is his wedge game. Putting a little bit, but I think driving will become more paramount. And I just think, I mean, the crowds are behind him.
Look, if he could have knocked down one putt in the U.S. Open,
the back nine last year, he'd have won.
In this year, I'm talking about the Open this year against Wyndham Clark.
I mean, the U.S. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's been knocking on the door, and I don't know if it's that's right.
I mean, he came within inches of how many putts that just would not. He couldn't drop a putt, and that was the difference.
Now, Kev, does it bother you that he won last week and it's tough to win back to back? Or is
yes
that
and no. I mean, Phil did it. He's the last one that won the Scottish and the British. Was that 10 years ago? And while winning, back-to-back weeks is tough, I mean, there is history of being successful or doing well at the Scottish Open is a good thing. So I've got a few trends, and it kind of worked out where Rory and one other golfer are the only two that met all these trends for the Open in general.
Before you get into that, one thing I heard last week, which one of the guys on TV, I can't remember. It was probably one of the players, Faldo, one of those, said that same question was posed about he won last week. And something that he said was, Rory's so top echelon of a player now that him winning that tournament, he doesn't go to a higher level. Like I just won the Scottish Open, go out and celebrate, it's right. So a lot of times winning back to back is you hit that elevation of winning. It's hard to come down and then get that edge back. Yeah. So
I think it's almost
that might not play in the factor for him. So
that's a great point.
Him. Yeah,
that's a great point, and it's a quick turnaround. I mean, he literally was at Liverpool. I mean, a 20 whatever, half-hour ride over there from this win Sunday, and that's the thing too. Is I mean, Rory when he won his first four majors, by the age of 25 or 6. When he was interviewed, it was like, oh, when I win my best major, when I win my next major. In the last few years, up until recently, he kind of doubted himself, but I think he's got his swag back. He's married a dad. That was kind of a transitionary period, but the whole PJ Live stuff. But I think he's got his swagger back. He's locked in. He's loaded. And he has that mentality that I'm a badass MFer, and he's kind of pissed that he's not number one, that Scheffler and Rahm have been ahead of him. And I think that he's more motivated than anybody. And I just think it's the stars aligning and going through some of these trends. Again, the weather I think is going to help his favor. The fact that it's a longer course, the fact that he won back here in 2014 going away. And since 2016, of the 22 Open champs have won early this season. So do two metrics. So each of the last 10 Open winners have been top 33 official World Golf rankings. So it's, for me, that immediately brings the field down to 33. And also, each of the last 10 winners had were a previous top 10 in the Open. Only 6 golfers can check those 2 boxes: Rory, Fleetwood, Spieth, Hovland, Cam Young, and Harman. The third trend is that since 2016 of the 22 champs have won early in the season, the only 2 golfers that can meet all 3 of those trends are Rory and Hovland. Those are my two top picks to win. I think Hovland's also due. I mean, again, knocking on the door. Multiple majors.
He won at Memorial, so we talked about that.
One more, which is
took the monkey off the back a little bit.
Yeah, and outside of the majors and the players, I mean, the Memorial might be the 6th biggest tournament out there. I mean, plays like a major in a lot of ways. So I do like Victor outside of Rory. And then, my other pick, I wrote him, the U.S. Open. He's showing more and more glimpses. Another non-major winner, but is due. Ricky, my boy Ricky, I'm going again. He has actually last time at Hoylake finished second to Rory. So he has kind of horse for the courses. And again, I'm a big believer in momentum when it comes to golf and confidence. And I think he definitely has it after the U.S. Open and a win earlier this year. So those are the 3 big winner plays that I'll be going with. And other guys, like, 2 live guys that I think good course fits, big game hunters, good, drivers, long iron players are the Bash brothers, DJ and Koepka. I'll be sprinkling a little bit as well. I got some long shots and T20s.
Yeah, so I'll give my guys, and then we'll circle back around. So, unfortunately, going last has its, everybody gets picked, right? So
orders their dinner, you order the same exact entree and everything.
Yeah. So I'll give my.
You're not. Who are you kidding? You're waiting for us.
Yeah,
to pick,
the guy that controls the order is complaining about going last. Like he couldn't put himself first if he had something smart.
Look, Kevin can attest. But from about noon on, I did not much work except look at the British Open or the Open. So. No, so I'll give my top 3, and then I have a 3 kind of longer shots. So I'll just go in the top 3. So I'm with Jason Scheffler again. I know he's chalk, but I wrote him for the first 2. I made the point of his putting, his lag putting is good, and I think that's something in a tournament like this where it could be okay to not be a dominant putter. You just can't be the worst putter. And I think he could do that with his lag putting ability. So Scheffler
just needs to be a decent putter.
Just needs to be a decent putter. So I will go.
He wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad putting in the U.S. Open. He wasn't great.
He had a couple bad holes that cost him, and he had a couple birdies that he needed to knock down, and he didn't, and they became pars, and that changes the whole way you play. He did have he put in an eagle though, where he from 160 out. Yeah. So that's not normal as well.
One there. Yeah.
But so Scheffler, Ricky Fowler. I'm always like the Bash Fowler. I do like Fowler, but I always like the Bash when I was a win. But I'm actually picking him. So yeah, his form. He has a win, a runner-up, 8 top 10s, and 15 top 25s in 20 starts. Missed only 2 cuts. I mean, he's been the model of consistency. So at this point, you have to say, obviously, he got his swing back, and he's back. He's 2 in total driving efficiency, 8 in shots, strokes gained, tee to green, and 7th in approach tee to green. So 25-1, sign me up. I'm going to ride him. And then my third guy, second, however you want to say it, and this poor guy, he's got a lot. He's carrying a big load. Victor Hovland has all 4 of us have picked Victor Hovland.
He's got the mush.
So
He's
we'll
gonna
see.
scratch from the tee box. He's gonna be like, he's gonna fall down with a cramp in his calf. And that'll be it.
He
We'll
might
go ahead
have
and Port Rush and triple bogey the
he
first.
might
Yeah.
just roll
Really?
down that, what was it, the teaspoon hole of 17, just roll into the water or something. So yeah, Hovland, and 13 shots gained, 10th and tee to green, and I made the point where his wedge has been his biggest issue. But courses like this, yeah, you have to be good around the green, but it's like a whole different style. So that could change the way he could his disadvantage could kind of neutralize. So Victor Hovland was my third guy that makes sense. So Scheffler, Fowler, Hovland. Jason, I'll come back to you now for, you said you had some long shots or maybe a top 10, top 20.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So, like I said, anybody that I said my win picks, I'm also going to bet in the first round to lead after the first round. I'm also going to bet a couple of guys to lead after the first round that I don't think could win the tournament, but I think are good top 20 candidates. Min-Woo Lee. So as you guys could tell, I'm really liking him for this tournament. Taylor Gooch, I think, is another long shot, top 20 guy, a top 20 bet guy, and maybe could lead after the first round. Corey Connors, I think, is another guy, good top 20 guy. Probably won't win. Tom Kim has really been playing well lately.
Okay.
And he's a good iron guy, good ball striker. Another guy I don't think is going to win, but I'll throw him in the top 20. And then Kevin's guy, McIntyre. Man, I mean, that guy's just been on fire lately. And I think you'll get a good price for him to get into the top 20, and I'm going to use him.
All right, Chalky, I knew you mentioned Henley and Bradley were some of the longer plays. Did you anybody else? Any top 20s?
Not for win, but all the guys that I drafted are 2-1 or better to make top 10. But I'm actually going to lean on Adam Scott 5.5 to 1 for that bet. Maybe do some parlays or mix it in. And then the other sort of, I guess, prop or whatever you want to call it, the nationality props. So it's Great Britain and Ireland. I think you got to look under, or at least on DraftKings. And I got McIntyre 14 to 1. So that would be one of my prop bets.
Fun. Kevin, how about you? Any? You said you had a couple crazy ones.
I mean, yeah, crazy. Couple top 20s, couple props. I mean, I always throw a few long shots, but top 20s. First at plus 410, so 4 to 1. A local fave, Matthew Jordan, was in the Open. He's probably played Royal Liverpool, or definitely played more than anybody else in the field. It's his home course. He's been playing it since he's a little kid. I think he said in an interview that he's played it like 5,000 times. He's also, DP World Tour player. You can get him to win, which I might just throw a nick at 300 to 1. But to top 20, which I'm surprised the odds are so short, plus 410.
Yeah, they crush those odds, the top 20s, and they get crushed down. I mean, it's still high. 410 is high when you compare it to top 10, top 20
And
guys.
I'll tell you what, Kevin, you're a Jersey guy, so you have access to a couple different platforms. You should shop around because you'll be surprised how much different some of those odds are between Bet365 and DraftKings and FanDuel and BetRivers and all those apps.
Yeah, and I will when I put this is for the pod. I didn't do that, but good point for my personal ventures. I'll look to sprinkle because that seemed a little.
Don't
short.
do that on the pod because Tommy will yell like he did for me on the Masters when I was trying to give the listeners the best choice. But whatever. But that's a good point because
being a Delawarean, I don't have access to any of this stuff that you're talking about. So.
But case in point, and we kind of talked about it as we went along, when we did the out loud, the make the cut bet, 3 of the 4 prices that Kevin read out off of, I think you said FanDuel, are better than and significantly better actually than what DraftKings has live. Looking at, I had DraftKings up. I can get them both in PA, but there was a big difference in 3 of the 4 in
And
FanDuel's
yeah,
favor, or our favor for FanDuel, I guess you would say. But
so I'll do that. And even looking, I just looked at DraftKings. Matthew Jordan's plus 650 for top 20 versus plus 410.
Yeah,
So
it's a big difference.
That's
you know,
huge.
so
Yeah,
I'll take
wow.
that. So 61, but local fave, local boy grew up. So top 20. I mean, I'll have them make the cut. You get plus odds on him. Yeah, you
now,
know, might even
just one before you go on, one thing I did read, and it's not going to affect him because he plays the course so much, is that they're renumbering the holes. So
rerouting. Yeah,
17 and 18, if you're a member there, are actually 1 and 2 for the tournament.
yeah.
So
Which
not that's, I mean, you're going to play it, but it just the way they lay out a link style course, I just found that interesting because I don't know if it really changed anything, but just interesting that they don't use the normal order that the course members would play. It's they made 15 and 16, 17 and 18
yeah,
for
I mean, I'm
purposes of
guessing it's got to
tournament.
do with like the crowds and the
Yeah,
venue.
Yeah,
sometimes
this
it depends because 18 they want to
yeah
have a certain like for
yeah
the final putt around if they
Yeah.
can't make it
So
happen.
they did say that a lot of what they did with and Ken mentioned it. So they didn't like change a lot of the holes other than some of the ones we talked about, but some of the restructuring they did was to allow for bigger crowds on
Yeah.
the course on certain holes. So it may not change how it plays, but it's definitely that's what they kind of focused on.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, Maddie Jordan, local fave, and then two other top 20s similar. American start Chris Kirk and get about 5 to 1.
I'm sorry,
Talk
who was that? I broke up on me at my
Chris
end.
Kirk.
Okay.
Talk about a journey. I mean, he was out of the game for a couple years dealing with sobriety issues, addiction issues and all that. He came back. He actually won last year. He's been in excellent form, a grinder, some success at the Open. So I'd like him as a top 20. And then another guy, top 20, but I think, might even sprinkle a little to win. 2-time Open champion, actually, the last back-to-back Open champion, Patty Harrington.
I heard he's been playing well.
Yeah, the first 2 rounds Scottish Open, he was in the mix. He kind of fell off over the weekend, but he's been crushing on the senior tour, the Champions Tour, whatever they call it. Playing good. He has a confidence in an interview. He says, I think I could win the Open. And like I said, he's got the pedigree to do it. I think he's also a dark horse to actually make the European Ryder Cup team, which would be wild, from Wisconsin. But, I like him as a top 20. And then, Robbie Mack, 2's a long shot. You can get him about 90 to 1, 95 to 1 to win. Throw a little there. Ben On is another one. Excellent off the tee. You can get about 150 to 1. That's kind of a long shot. He played at Hoy Lake in 2014. I think at a T20 or might have been outside of that. So that's another long shot. And then 2 props that I'll go with for over under total score and the cut line, which I'll go heavy on. I love the under both of these. So right now, DraftKings over under is 268.5. So basically, my 16 under better. Get you plus odds, plus 100. The last 2 times a year, Tiger won at 18 under. Rory won, I think, at 16 under. Now it was a par 72 then, so this is right at that 16 under number. But again, I think the first 2 rounds you're going to see some crazy low rounds, so I do like that at the under. And then the cut line at even, so even or better, is plus 105. I like that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll finish this off. I got 3 long shots. So unfortunately, when you go last, sometimes you don't get the. I do have one guy. I got one guy nobody mentioned. So but I'll go through the 2 that I liked that were mentioned. Taylor Gooch was kind of my guy. He tied 33rd at St. Andrews, 34th at Royal St. George. So not horrible at the Open in years past. The other was Min Woo Lee, so Jason's guy. He has a Scottish Open win, a Victoria Open win. So his link style, he likes playing link style courses. And he was 5th in the U.S. Open this year. So Min Woo Lee, and then my last guy is making his Open debut, which always is tough. Tied for 6th and tied for 7th in his last 2 starts. he lost in a playoff in Memorial, and he's tied for 20th in the U.S. Open. That's Denny McCarthy. So he is
Best part of
plus
the game.
he is plus 9,000 to win the tournament, but what's the Phillies doing over here? But plus 9,000 to win the tournament. But yeah,
Don't turn around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
just
getting ugly.
Yeah, with the defense fell apart here. So yeah, top 10, top 20 as well. So they're my three: Lee, Gooch, and McCarthy. All right, we're coming up on the hour mark. We gave out a lot of picks, a lot of talk. We did our parlay, we did our draft. Let's close up the show. Anything else you boys wanted to add? Any final thoughts around this U.S. Open? I know Jason and Kevin said they'll be waking up fairly early in the wee hours of the morning to start watching.
4:30.
So like we talked about Sunday morning, you'll have like a nice end to the tournament all the way up till 4:00. So that's a fun day. Anything
I
else you
think it's
guys
actually
want?
2 o'clock Sunday, but yeah.
You
Anyway.
think it'll end
Yeah,
at
Sunday
2?
ends a little early.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the coverage ends Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yes. I mean, you still got a full day ahead of you. That's nice. Anything else before we sign off? Hopefully, our Open is as successful as the U.S. Open because we definitely gave out some good plays for that.
Yeah, let's hit something. Let's hit our
Yeah,
parlay,
let's
at
root
least.
home the pod parlay.
I'll be looking. Nick Faldo will be making a comeback on the coverage as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
great.
did see that.
That is great. Yeah, that's what you wanted. That's the perfect voice
Sir Nick
for the
Faldo.
Open.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, boys, let's go get it. That was
Up.
episode 63 of Broad Street Hustle. We will be back later in the week with the acclaimed Jimmy D. We're going to cover the Haskell this week, which is down at Monmouth, the Pick 4 at Saratoga, get a little bit into maybe some lifestyle of Saratoga. And I believe we may sprinkle some early Sixers talk before we do that. And if that's the case, we'll bring back fan favorite Christopher Michael Meeker for that one. So we shall see. So stay tuned. Catch us YouTube and all your platforms and catch us later in the week for our 64th episode of Broad Street Hustle. Have a great night.
All right.